Yeah, buddy. Woo! What was your preferred mode of transportation in the 90s?
What was my preferred mode of transportation in the 90s? You talking about riding bikes? I'd probably say riding bikes.
What kind of bike?
I had a Huffy, black and purple bike. And I remember one time, when I started learning how to like skid, like power slide for like a cool movie style stop, I was doing that all the time. And I remember I was in the court, in Athol court, and I did that and I skidded so hard that my tire just exploded. Oh, man.
Tire skim explosion.
And oh yeah, tire skim derby. Pretty much translates to any vehicle, I think. What about you? What about you? That was an interesting question that you kicked it off with. What spurred that on?
Well, we were talking about when you broke your arm.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
What do you remember from that incident?
I remember going into the ditch intentionally because there was a car coming.
Yeah.
And a car was like had just come out of the stop sign and was like coming down the road. We were perfectly visible, and there was like plenty of room on the side. I'm pretty sure they probably went in the middle of the road to go around us and everything. But we were like, "Oh, car's coming! Let's go in the ditch." And yeah, you did the half pipe and came out the other side, and so I was like, "Oh, that's easy." And then I don't know, just like the bike was on top of me, I was on the ground. Nothing really hurt, but my arm was like in like a V, like total V. And I remember just walking around with holding my arm, like trying to keep it still. I don't remember it hurting at all. It was just really freaky to see your arm like that instead of like, how it normally is. But yeah, then mom sat me down on the couch in the basement and got the Washingtons up on the end of the dead end at the top of the hill. Got them to watch Kathleen, I think. And then, yeah, then the ambulance came. They got me an ambulance because mom didn't want to drive the stick shift because she thought it was too rough. And yeah, then in the ambulance ride, I was like in this like cloud of towels and everything was clean and perfect, and I was like totally relaxed. And they like gave me an IV, which like kind of like knocked me out a little bit. And then when I came to, I was in the doctor's office, and he was like talking with mom. They were both standing right next to the bed, and I just like kind of came to right when he was like crack, put my arm back. So yeah. And I broke both of these bones, the radius and the ulna, on my left arm.
Yeah.
And then I had to wear a cast all summer, which fucking sucked. But yeah.
It's pretty intense, man. Yeah, I mean, I was there. I saw it, the damn arm.
It's gross, man.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of that, what do you remember from that house?
I remember a lot. I remember like every time I would go into your room, I feel like the blinds were kind of down but open. And so even to this day, like this, whenever I see like light coming through the blinds, I always think of like going into your room and like your carpet having all that like just laid out. But physically from the house, like we had that awesome front porch that was sick, but we could never be out there because there was always like bees under the porch. And yeah, the yard wrapped around the whole thing, and we had the hill that went down into the garage. We were on that massive hill where we would luge down on the skateboards. Remember? That shit was insane. And yeah, I remember playing kickball out in the front yard, and there'd be like fireflies and stuff. Like I feel like typical American like summer evenings. You know what I mean? So yeah, that was sick. What do you think of when you think of the house? Oh, and obviously the fort back out in the woods. But yeah, what do you think about?
Yeah, all that stuff. But then you brought it up, skateboarding.
Yeah,
So when do you first remember, like, what are your earliest memories of skateboarding?
I just remember there'd be days where everybody would be on the top of the hill, like be out there with their bikes or their skateboard or whatever, and then we would just spend like an hour like going down the hill, watching everybody go down the hill. And I remember luging down the hill, like with my feet dragging and stuff like that. But I wasn't one of the crazy kids who would like go ahead and send it. You know what I'm talking about? And I'm talking about the hill on Wesley's side, not the hill on the other side. But yeah.
For sure. Do you remember your first skateboard?
I remember going to the skate shop in Kempsville.
No, I'm talking about your first board.
Oh no, not when I was like a little kid. No, I don't remember that.
Remember? Dude, we had like matching boards from like Walmart or something.
Nah.
Yours had the ugliest wheels. They were like they looked like caramel. They look like Tootsie Roll wheels or something. It was like a dashboard combined with like a 17th Street board with the cheapest like options on it, you know. But hey, look, it rolled, and we had a hill. So that's really like, I mean.
I remember we definitely used to spray WD-40 all over all of our skateboards to make them go faster. Even though that's technically like not the best thing for the bearings, but
Yeah.
It's like a short-term like speed boost.
Speed boost. Yes, I did. Okay, how would you compare Northern Virginia to Southeastern Virginia?
Well, there were like in Northern Virginia, we played with the kids like in our corner of the neighborhood, like in our like street. But in Southeast Virginia, I feel like kids from all over different neighborhoods would hang out all over the place. You know, it was like there's just a lot more people. You know, but I mean, I was in second grade when we got to Virginia Beach, so you know, I don't remember too much. I just remember our different friends. You know, and it was like more of a rural vibe than like a suburban vibe. But yeah, then we got to Virginia Beach, and I was in for first day of second grade, and I had my broken arm from that summer that we had just talked about, and then I had some broken glasses that got like broke the night before the first day of school, so I had tape on my glasses, and I think it was on the side, not on the front, but and then I had a cast on my arm. I'm at like a brand new school, but all the kids are super nice.
Which school is it?
Rosemont Forest in Bellamy Plantation.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah,
Wow.
kids were super nice. It didn't get until like fourth grade when we started figuring out how to like insult each other like the bigger kids were doing and stuff like that.
Yeah, so you went to Rosemont Forest Elementary School.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought about that because I did not. I went to Salem Middle School.
Yeah.
Directly into middle school. You still had damn 4 years of damn elementary school.
Yeah.
That's
well, second, third, fourth, and fifth. Yeah.
All right. So top 5 Super Nintendo games ever.
All right, my personal favorite, as you know, Street Fighter 2 Turbo. Um, Super Mario World was fucking dope. Obviously, it's one of the greatest games of all time. Um, Donkey Kong Country 2, Diddy Kong's Quest. The soundtrack on that, I play that soundtrack to this day, man. It's so good. The instrumentation, the percussion, primo. Let's see, what else do we have? Oh, NBA Jam, obviously. But let's see, what would number 5 be? Those are the big ones for sure.
About Star Fox.
Star Fox used to always piss me off.
Yeah, I agree, actually.
I mean, it was sick, but obviously, like, I guess I just wasn't that good at it.
Now it's annoying.
So a sentimental one wasn't actually like a really good game. Was Nolan Ryan's Baseball.
I agree.
But like, you could cheat the computer so hard in that game.
I don't know anybody else who had that game.
Yeah, everybody had Ken Griffey's Baseball.
If anybody has ever played Nolan Ryan's Baseball, please leave a comment down below. And there's got to be a way to play it over again. I don't know what it was, man. I mean, what made that game special?
I mean, it was our baseball game. It was super intuitive. Like, the controls, it's like you point to the base and throw it to the base. There's only like 3 buttons, you know? When you look at a baseball game now, today, they got baseball games today where you can log on and it'll update the roster and the entire game situation for a game that's happening in real life. They'll be like, oh, there's 2 outs, these 2 teams are playing, this pitcher's already out, like all that stuff. And then you can jump in the game and play it for the rest of the game. And there's like, you got all kinds of buttons and stuff. No, this was like 3 buttons and the D-pad, and that was it. It's just like super intuitive, you know?
Mm. Yeah, but I mean, yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. And then what I liked about it was weren't all the players Japanese?
I don't think so.
Wasn't it like Japan versus American superstars or something supposed to be?
No. Nolan Ryan's Baseball was like the blue team and the red team, and they were color schemes of like actual teams, you know? But and then it would be like, for the names, it would be like B Brown or something, you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't actual like people's names.
Right.
I'm sure there was a Japanese version of the game though.
Yeah, Nolan Ryan was the only damn like celebrity in the damn game.
Yeah, and he was on the T team. You remember that?
I guess so.
Like, whenever we logged on, we were like race our things over to pick the T team first because you couldn't be 2 of the same team, and we knew he was like the best pitcher.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, now I remember, yeah. Oh yeah, no, the best part, dude, was there was no time limit on the freaking. If you wanted to like lead off the bag, you could just off for 10 minutes or just like, you know, like each bag, you know.
You play like a 2-hour game of pickle.
We'd have like a 2-hour standoff in the garage, dude. Like, wait for somebody to blink so you can freaking slide into home plate and score the winning run. Oh man, that was crazy, dude.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, because remember the way to reset was to get to the pitcher's mound.
Yeah.
And you got to stay there for like a split second.
Yeah.
But if it's anything less than a split second, you have the option to walk off the mound and throw the ball to the base.
Yo, do you remember how frustrating it was?
The question I have for the designers of that game, or who's ever played it, you think it was intentionally like set up that way to have those little unique quirks in it, where the timing just works out perfectly if you do this or don't react? I mean, do y'all think that, or do you think it was just a kind of a byproduct of it? What do you think?
I'd say it's a byproduct, like a glitch kind of thing that you could definitely like expose. But yo, my question to you is, on a scale of 1 to 10, how frustrating was it when you would throw it to a base and the person who was supposed to be on the base was like running to the base at the same time? And same thing as a pitcher's mound. If they were like a millisecond away from being on the base, the ball would just go right through them and like go to the outfield. And then everybody just run the bases. Like, that's the most frustrating thing. Oh man, yeah, Nolan Ryan's baseball, bro.
Well, what about Super Mario World?
Oh yeah, that one was just all around one of the greatest games. I mean, you talk about the level of difficulty, you talk about the different mechanics that they had in there, you talk about the soundtrack, the art, all that stuff, man. It's just like, yo, oh no, never mind, that was Capcom. I was gonna say, me and Mo had just gone to Napa not too long ago, and we went to a winery that's owned by the dude who started Capcom, like fucking Mega Man and Street Fighter and all that shit.
Okay.
Yeah, it was pretty sick. But yeah, it was a sidebar.
All right, so we got Street Fighter 2 Turbo, DK, Country 2, NBA Jam, Nolan Ryan's Baseball, Super Mario World.
Yo, what's your number one? I feel like your number one is Super Mario World. Oh, yeah?
Which was better? Which would you rather have on a strand on a desert island? Would you rather have Super Mario World? Would you rather have that damn 5-in-1 Prince old school fucking weirdo?
Super Mario All-Star is sick, and I can't say anything against it, but Super Mario World is just like, it's one of the best games of all time. Like, I'm talking like Grand Theft Auto type, like pillar in history of video gaming, you know?
Yeah. True. Now, yeah, like, I feel like the first two Marios back in like 86, that's just too frustrating to play, dude. Like,
yeah.
Don't like, especially like Underground Castle Fire bullshit. Like, fuck you, dude. Like,
yeah, that was like 82, 83.
Like, it literally, like 99 times out of 100 in them old games, it's always going to lean towards the computer is going to win. You're going to die.
Yeah.
At least there was like some forgiveness in like the later, you know, like Super Mario World was much more forgiving because you could actually like legit duck under something and slide under something instead
of just being one height the whole time and having to fit a square through a bunch of different.
What was the most difficult level out of Super Mario World?
I mean, there was all the shit in that. You remember that like Star World where you would like warp to the Star World? That shit pissed me off pretty bad. But anything up in the clouds. Whenever you see clouds in the Super Mario level, you know it's gonna be tough. Or the ice. The ice was a bunch of bullshit too.
The ice was tough. Yeah, the ice in the cave was tough. Underwater was very tough, I feel like.
Oh, fuck an underwater thing, man. Yeah, you're right.
You know, the fun ones were like, I don't know, there's like a million infinity blocks, and I'm just busting through blocks for like 5 minutes. You know, grabbing loot. You know, they put those little trinkets in there to keep you going on the game. You know.
Dude, I found a hack for Super Mario 3, man. I found this on my own. There's a level where you can do that shit. There's like a secret area, and you can go in there and get like 10 lives or something. And but then if you're playing with two players, there's like a sequence of ways where you can do it, where one player like does it and then dies, and then the level resets, and you can like keep doing it with the other player or something like that, and then just like stock up on a ton of lives. And I fucking did that shit. Super Mario 3, man, that shit was like, you play the first world and you're like, oh, this is fun. And then you immediately get to the sand world, the second one, and they're just like, nah, this is what it's about.
Yo, so what do you remember from Salem Woods?
Oh, I mean, I was in Salem Woods from second to ninth grade, so a lot.
Yeah.
um, the park, um, bus stop, whatever. Uh, Round Hill, man. I remember one time they paved Round Hill, and we were out there like every day with our skateboards because it was so smooth. Um, I spent a lot of time at Jeff's cul-de-sac. We play like home run derby with the tennis ball in the cul-de-sac,
Yeah.
and like it'd be extra points if like a UPS truck or something was driving by and you could nail the UPS truck.
Yeah. What do you remember from Papa's house?
Um, hey, is this sizzling too loud?
No.
All right. Um, Papa's house, the concrete. Remember the concrete everywhere? Like fall down immediately, skin your knees, and it was all uneven and stuff. But obviously, he had a huge garden. You know, he had the two sheds. He had the one where he had his office in, which was like a garage, and then his office, which was badass. And then he had the shed in the way back, which like I never even really went back there, but it was back there by that green van that he always had. Yeah, man. And the swing set, and the other thing over there, that little like swinging bench thing over by the grapevine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember all that. That's just the outside. Remember how scary the basement was at night, man, with the freaking furnace going down there.
I used to live down there, man.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I totally forgot all about that. What was that for? You were working up at the shop one summer or something?
Oh man, I just used to spend a lot of time down there.
I thought you stayed down there though one time.
Nah, never.
Oh, maybe I'm misremembering. But yeah, you used to be down there for sure, watching the VHS tapes down there and stuff.
Oh yeah. You remember the movies that we used to rent from that VHS thing?
Man, all I remember are the Butter Battle. Dr. Seuss's The Butter Battle. Ninja Turtles. What VHS? I remember the commercials, man. I remember the Power Wheels commercial. I remember the Pizza Hut commercial. You know what I'm talking about?
I was always the kind of guy, I always liked oldies music. The radio station was Oldies 100 in Northern Virginia.
Yeah,
That was the first station that, like, let's talk Northern Virginia radio stations real quick. I mean, we're talking Fairfax area. We're talking DC 101. We're talking E101.5. We're talking Oldies 100. I mean, these were the sounds that I was hearing constantly. Do you remember these sounds?
Yeah. Oldies 100.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I remember that.
So I remember hearing them in the car. I would hear them in two places, really: the car and my little radio with the tape deck in it. Do you remember that thing?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, especially I remember that because I had to use one of those for my truck when I had the F-150. And then whenever you would ride in my truck, you'd be like, oh, I left this in here and fucking take it. And then I'd have to get a new one. And then you'd be like, oh, I left this in here and take it. You're talking about the cassette adapter thing, right?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, no, motherfucker, you already did that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, you'd have to hook that to your Walkman CD player if you wanted to play a CD. And then like every time you hit a bump, it would like skip.
Okay, dude. CDs. Let's talk CDs. What were your favorite CDs growing up?
Well, I remember my first CD. You gave it to me actually. It was Beatles 1, and it's like the 27 number one Beatles hits or whatever. That was my first CD, and that kind of that launched me into exploring music like chronologically, but starting with the Beatles. And then I got into classic rock and all that kind of stuff, and and then like progressing all the way through today, even through like metal and rap and all that kind of stuff. But then in college, I took a jazz class, intro to jazz, and so I reset the chronology to like early American jazz, and then caught up to the Beatles and like got everything that I had missed starting right at the Beatles. You know, I credit that CD gift from you as like the how I kicked off like my progression through music and stuff like that.
Oh, that's pretty dope. What type of rap were you into in high school?
Man, you had me all kind of mixed up because I was into like BC Boys and like old school rap, like Run DMC and shit. That's why I started wearing Adidas like all the time. The Superstar 2s or whatever with the shell toe, because like Run DMC and fucking and all that old school stuff. Yo, you remember? Oh, talk about best CDs. You remember that one CD? It was like a mix. And it had like it had Walk This Way, but with the Run DMC version, it has some Snoop Dogg on there. It has some it was like, oh man, that CD was the shit, man. It had like a good sampling of like old school hip hop and rock and stuff.
Yeah, that was super dope. I was thinking about that too.
It was like an orange and green CD, but I can't remember.
Bro, that was kind of the inspiration for the Joe Mac throwback CD that I made.
Oh, that CD is pretty dope too. I forgot about that one.
I was like, yo, how could I take that concept and make it my own and make it 1,000 times doper? Like, that's how I'm gonna do it. You know what I mean?
Nice. Yeah, yours was like you had way more tracks on it, which was great because I always wanted like more to that CD. You know?
Absolutely. Well, you know, the blank CDs are damn 80 minutes long. I just can't imagine. Now think about the time spent kind of like burning CDs and like borrowing CDs, and like that's all you had are the CDs that you had. Like that's the music that you have, and that's it.
LimeWire.
Yeah.
You remember LimeWire?
Yeah, you go for one freaking, you go to LimeWire, you go to damn Napster or whatever. You pick one of them things and you try to get one song. There's 10 different options. You click all 10. There it is. Half of them fail immediately. The other two are like buffering for like 7 hours. You're like, fuck that, I'm gonna get this fucking song. Fuck you, Napster. You know.
Hell yeah.
And then at 8 hours and 45 minutes is like, sorry, file. Or it doesn't even give you an explanation. It's just like
nope.
It like exits itself out of the program, and then a middle finger shows up like this in the center. Yeah. Thank you, LimeWire. But hey, look, got a lot of good music off of LimeWire too, so it can't be tripping, you know. But nowadays, man, it's you know, I guess it's the way it should be. I think it's like the golden era of technology, man. You know,
yeah, it's cool, man. We're like, in my job, we always talk about like, what are the ways that we can make our customer experience like more seamless and stuff, to the point where if you take out all of the extra actions that you have to do, like what's the minimum this person could possibly do to interact with your product and be happy about it, you know? And that's like the core of product design and all that kind of stuff. And it's just crazy, like using the technology that we have today to make stuff. Like now you can just tap your phone onto a pin pad and like pay for whatever you're doing just automatically. It's like secure and all this stuff, you know. It's crazy, man.
So, yo, what do you remember from Grandpop's house?
I was just describing it to Morgan the other day. Grandpa's spot is dope. I mean, he's on a cul-de-sac in on a lagoon, and he's like one lagoon away from the bay, so it's like protected, but you can still see out to the bay from his bomb-ass sun porch, which not only encompasses like a whole side of the house, but it also goes up to the master bedroom, so him and his wife can have the sun porch like just right outside of their bed. And that's fucking, dude, all that was so dope. I remember the recessed lighting that they have in their living room. Like when it was nighttime and just the lamps were on and those lights, and we were playing with like Hess trucks and shit. Like that lighting is what I want to emulate in my house. Like it was just so soft and warm and cozy, you know, but it like illuminated everything that you needed to see. Oh man, I just remember it being super cozy, you know. And then we had a deck, like going out to to the lagoon. Oh my god, swimming in the lagoon was like twice a workout of swimming in a pool because you're treading water so hard, not to not touch the muck at the bottom with the crabs all pinching you and stuff like that.
Yeah. Oh, dude, the muck.
Yo, one time Uncle Joe challenged me to a race to touch the other dock and come back, go across the lagoon. And this was like my prime swimming years because I was like, you know, whatever, a junior in high school or something. And I jumped off the dock and dove in, and just immediately the lagoon is filled with these little jellyfish. Dude, like filled. Like I just jumped into a pool of jellyfish. And so the whole way I'm just like cruising, like I'm like getting stung and stuff, but it's like these little like wispy tentacles. So it makes you itch and stuff. It doesn't like hurt, but it was just so gross. And all the way to the other side. And then I gotta like come up for air and stuff. I'm worried like a jellyfish is just gonna go in all the way to the other side and back. And I'm pretty sure, I can't remember because I know I beat him, but I don't know if he like turned back or what, but I don't think Uncle Joe raced across the whole side. But I went there and back, and then I popped out of that thing. I was like, I'm never jumping out with you again. But yeah, man.
Damn, dude, that sucks.
Most of the time, it wasn't like that. I enjoyed, man, going out on the boat. He had the 3 boats.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yo, do you remember that movie Old Boy? Did you ever see Old Boy?
I believe so, yeah.
Korean revenge movie. Well, the part he was like in prison, basically just kidnapped and in prison like for like 25 years or some shit. He didn't know why, and it was this like weird hotel room, and nobody would talk to him. He just had to stay in the hotel room with no windows for like 25 years. And so he taught himself like how to fight and stuff. And he finally like ended up like punching through the wall and escaping. Anyways, right when he escapes, he's like, they've been serving him dumplings every day for that. Well, no, he like punched the wall like over and over as part of his training.
I got you.
Yeah. But they would feed him dumplings, the same dumplings every single meal for 25 years. And so when he got out, he wanted to eat something different. And so he went to this like this sushi place exactly like what you're describing, except Korean, I guess. And the lady serves up this octopus, and I don't know if she like just gave it to him whole, but he starts like eating it, and it's like wrapping around his face and stuff like that, and he's just like chomping into it.
The fuck kind of movie is this, dude? I never.
Bro, you got to see Old Boy. They made an American remake, but it ain't that sweet, dude. It's actually part of a trilogy. It's like Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance and Sympathy for Mrs. Vengeance are the other two, lesser known, but it's brutal, man.
It just sounds bizarre, dude.
Dude, it's got one of the best fight scenes of all time. Right when he busts out, he's like kind of like drowsy and like doesn't know what's going on. He hasn't seen anything other than this hotel room for like 25 years. And this gang of punks comes up on him and tries to jump him. And they're like messing with him and pushing him up against the wall. And he like grabs this hammer that's just like right there. It's just like a regular ass hammer. It just starts fucking wrecking all of them, dude. Breaking bones and smashing skulls. And oh man, it's brutal. But yeah, man, you gotta watch that one, dude.
Why do you assume that I would enjoy this type of content?
Dude, it's one of the greatest revenge movies of all time. It's up there with like the Death Wish series.
Yeah, I mean, I got you on that. I'm 100% with you on that. I'm definitely gonna check it out for sure. But look, listen, man. I mean, it sounds like one of the movies that once you have a plot like that, after 25 years, motherfucker, anything's gonna be exciting, bitch. He's gonna look at a fucking, he's gonna get a piece of pizza. It's gonna be like, audience is gonna be like, oh, it's been 25 fucking years.
No, man, you gotta.
He's like this. He's like tasting. He's like, VHS tapes.
VHS tapes. I'm thinking Land Before Time. Which ones did we watch at home? I feel like let's see. I mean, all the Disney ones that we had.
Ninja Turtles, dude.
Yeah, Ninja Turtle. But I already said that for when we were talking about VHS tapes we watched at Papa's house.
Okay.
Yeah, but obviously Ninja Turtle. That's the one we watched the most. Hands
How
down.
many times do you think we watched that movie?
Oh, that's impossible to count, man. I mean, we know every word of it, you know, like.
How has that shaped your personality? Because
I think
there's no way that it didn't have an effect on you as a person.
I think it shaped your personality more than mine because, you know, you wanted to emulate fucking Casey Jones and be like the badass New Yorker dude who doesn't play by the rules. There we go. Can you see that? Got some egg bite delights and some breakfast potatoes, peppers and onions, and a fresh French press of Castro Company coffee. So yeah.
Look at you go, brother. I taught you well.
Yeah, right.
Well,
I do remember you cooking for me that first time I came out to San Diego and visited you. That was cool.
what did you remember about that?
You made that bomb ass sauce to go with the rice, and also you cooked the rice with onions, which gives it a lot of good flavor and stuff. Those are probably my biggest takeaways.
You describe the sauce.
It was mayonnaise based, but it was a little bit thinner. I can't remember everything that you put into it, but it was banging with the rice, that's for sure. It was one of those sauces that seems like it goes good with pretty much anything. Yeah.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah. All right, hold on one second. I gotta go give this to my woman.